The fan base.
Who's in the World Cup? The color's giving me Brazil. I'm gonna say Brazil, but I know it's not Brazil. Okay, then. Let me be confident in myself next time. Argentina? Okay. H is S? I have no idea. Not gonna lie. Croatia? Okay. I'm not even gonna cheat. I see like they say Netherlands right there. I'm an honest man. Could I get a hint? Some people think it's the best player in the world. Messi already played for Argentina. This one had to be Portugal. Ronaldo. Look, my soccer knowledge is growing. It's growing. It's getting there. 4 out of 5, not bad. Who's in the World Cup? The color's giving me Brazil. I'm gonna say Brazil, but I know it's not Brazil. Okay, then. Let me be confident in myself next time. Argentina? Okay. H. So I never thought it would be me here, full screen on YouTube. We did talk title, but it's gotten to that point. If you've been on YouTube or social media, Twitter, Instagram, in the last 24, 36 hours, you probably know what this is already about. But for those who do not know, EA has unfortunately put microtransactions into online modes. Road to Glory, Dynasty. And for those making the distinction that some of these are only available in the online version, it's still in totality an offline mode. If you want to put microtransactions into Ultimate Team, the cash cow that it is, you're welcome to do so. But there are so many people, like myself included, that do not touch Ultimate Team. We don't want to deal with that. Dynasty mode is supposed to be your sandbox, your world, your fantasy. You can do absolutely whatever you want within reason in the college football or professional football landscape. You can create your own player. You can build them how you want. You can do literally anything in a football scope. That's what it should be. You can change settings. You can tweak sliders. You can change XP progression. So why is everybody so mad that now suddenly you can just buy for a head start with some of these things? Well, first of all, it's about the principle, which is that these things were effectively hidden from the consumer, and especially the creators who got the game early, who now have to answer to the community being like, why did you guys cover for EA? You guys withheld this information. You knew microtransactions were coming to the game, and you didn't say it because EA paid you to stay quiet. EA made you take these things out. First of all, a lot of us, including myself, are not getting paid by EA. All this early footage, we are not getting paid. They are not paying us for opinion. Even in my sponsored videos, I've always been 100% transparent and honest about my opinion. I have never, ever said that I think something will be good and then come out, we get the game, and then I'm just like, oh, actually, I lied about that. That's literally never happened. Sometimes there are scenarios where, with more exposure, you realize there are cracks and there are some flaws, but I've never intentionally changed an opinion because EA told me to. It's never happened. And I believe the reason that EA was very hush hush about microtransactions entering Road to Glory and Dynasty is that they knew there would be outrage from guys like me, Bordeaux, not the expert. I don't believe microtransactions belong in these types of modes, period. But I do also understand the business side of it for EA, where if they want to give people a path to purchasing upgrades where it would otherwise take a long time to grind, that's fine. You can put it in there, but be transparent about it. Others, like myself, will choose not to use those, but here's where the problem is with that, because I see a lot of people saying, just don't spend money on it. Just don't. And I do understand that side of it, but you guys are totally missing the point. The point is that EA previously had options for your sandbox. You can create it however you would like. So for coach progression, you had the option to go normal, slower, slowest, or on the other side of that, faster and fastest. So you can completely tweak how much XP your coach is getting. Now, slower, slowest, and normal are still in the game. What's not in the game anymore is faster and fastest. And why it's in the game? It's not an accident. It was intentionally taken out in order to drive people to spend real money. And not a one-time fee to upgrade your coach, by the way. Every single time you're in a dynasty, that's your goal. It doesn't carry over. So every single dynasty file, new upgrades, new purchases with real money. You are being funneled into it. And they come out and say, hey, you know what? You want to upgrade your guy? It was a little bit too easy last year. We wanted to make progression a little bit more authentic, a little bit more rewarding. Takes about 25 or 30 seasons now to max out your guy. 25 to 30 seasons. If you played Nick Saban's complete career out, you don't get to max out your coach. You get the winningest head coach in the history of modern college football. You don't even get as much XP as you need. It's insane. 25 to 30 seasons. If you are a really diehard committed player that's loving your dynasty, you want to make it literally what the mode is named for. You play 15 seasons, maybe, it gets boring. You're the number one team the entire time. I need to play for 30 seasons to max out my coach. If you average 14 games a season and played 30 years, that's 420 games. To make the math simple, we'll assume that playing each game takes an hour. That's basically what it does. So that's 420 hours of gameplay to max out your coach, we're going to say. And that's just playing an actual game. It's probably more than that for everything you need to do outside of the actual gameplay with recruiting and upgrading your players and editing things and all that. But for the sake of it, we'll just say an hour. If you played 5 hours a week, and maybe that's a lot to some people, maybe it's nothing to other people, but if you played 5 hours a week of college football, 27, for 52 weeks of the year, that's 260 hours. Congrats, you're a little bit over halfway there to upgrading your coach all the way. You're one dynasty save. And again, people were confused about this. Just don't spend the money. Here's what I'll say to kind of paint a clearer picture, right? Picture the college football video game is a skyscraper. We'll say 100 floors high, right? Previously, there was an elevator where you could just go straight up to floor 100, essentially, right? You can go wherever you want, or take a faster route. Now, with the new game, EA has said, oh, the elevator still exists. You just have to pay for it now. And the other alternative is to walk up 100 flights of stairs. No problem, right? How many people are going to crumble under the temptation to say, you know what, I'll just spend the money, I'll just buy the upgrade, it's fine. But it's the principle of it is that they're giving you a choice. It's the illusion of choice. Yes, I guess at the end of the day, you still don't have to spend money, but people are already spending money on this. And it's ridiculous that it's no longer a free feature in the game. We had it last year. It's like, how much do you need? Ultimate Team doesn't pay enough. The sales of the game don't pay enough. You now need to squeeze the 1% of the player base for just a little bit extra and not adding these features back that we already had. It's pretty ridiculous to me. And I see what they're going for. They want to be like NBA 2K. We've already seen that with the entire way that you create your Road to Glory character. Here's the thing. It's totally different. In NBA 2K, you create your player, you spend VC, whatever you do. Then you go online and you play Park or Rec or whatever they do over there. It's over my head. That doesn't exist. In Madden, hey, great, go play the yard. Nobody cares about it. Or Superstar KO. Nobody cares. Football's just not one of those things that translates in that way. So the higher ups will say, oh, just copy what NBA 2K does. That's super profitable. It's apples and oranges. It's not the same thing. You can't just create it, drag it over, and act like type of thing. Road to Glory and Dynasty are completely separate. And I don't think that microtransactions benefit the mode in any meaningful way. But even more so, the fact that it was essentially hidden feels so underhanded, and they knew what they were doing, and it feels so disrespectful not only to the creators, of course. I just can't get on board with it. And now to the part of the video where I'm going to get called a shill probably, but pretty much everybody that I've ever talked to over at EA is a good person that cares about the mode. A lot of people are attributing some of these changes at EA to the Saudi buyout of EA. I can't speak to that personally, but I do know that, of course, when you spend that type of money to acquire a company, you want to squeeze every last dime out of it. You want to profit as much as you can on your investment. So I don't necessarily think this is going away. I think it probably will only get worse. And I'm trying to find a happy middle ground. Like, I think there is somewhere where we can agree on a compromise. And listen, nobody wants to compromise, right? EA wants to keep it where it is. They want to make more money. They don't want microtransactions of any type in any mode. They want to pay for the game that they've paid for. They would pay for it, and that is it. They want to just completely be able to play, have their freedom without spending another dime. I think that's a pretty appropriate viewpoint. Yet I understand that based on the mob, like with the popularity of these mobile games, it is a really easy way to make a ton of extra money. These microtransactions fuel game cycles. I think that's important too. But leave it where it belongs. In a mode that's online, where you can choose to play it or don't, that's Ultimate Team. I don't think that a sandbox style mode, like a Dynasty, or even a Road to Glory, needs microtransactions where you are funneling players in and giving them the illusion of choice, where a lot of people are just going to take the shortcut for what? That's what, 0.5, 1% of the player base? It just doesn't need to be there. Give us our freedom back. Give us the options back. Let us create our rules. EA is being taken private by a Saudi-led investor group that includes private equity firms. The lead Saudi backer, PIF, is not technically private equity. It is Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund. EA is not being bought because investors suddenly care about Dynasty mode, franchise depth, or better offline features. No kidding. It is being bought because EA has a huge proven machine for recurring digital revenue, which, as we said, Ultimate Team, the live services, extra content, mobile, subscriptions, cosmetics, battle pass style systems, etc. The EA deal doesn't create the microtransaction problem, but it appears to have locked it in, which is my fear. EA's value is heavily tied to its live service machine, Ultimate Team, right? When billions in debt are attached to take a private deal, the pressure is to double down on what already prints money. And for years, players complained that EA cared more about pack modes than franchise dynasty or career modes. I think it was proven in the resource modes. Remember hashtag bad franchise. But now the concern is different. EA realizes those offline modes can be monetized as well, which we knew was going to be coming at some point. But it was the lack of transparency. It was the fact that this was snuck in, and I still really don't think there's any place for it in the first place. So this is why he said that's why college football 27 is such a flashpoint. Dynasty and Road to Glory are not just missing features or balance tweaks. Players feel like EA took modes that were supposed to be safe from microtransactions and turned progression itself into a storefront. I think that's extremely well said. And if you see this tweet from Bordeaux, according to executive editor of Insider Gaming, Mike Straw, many stuff coming to College Football 27 were livid about it for months. He says even future single-player only titles will have more monetization options enabled. This is no longer just about CFP 27. And yet, about CFP 27, this is going to be the same model coming to Madden, more than likely, right? So if we don't say something now, we're just going to allow it to happen. Jesus. And again, I truly believe that there are great people over at EA. I like a lot of them. I'm not going to apologize for that. I think a lot of them do a good job and their heart's in the right place. And then I think you have calls from executives that don't care about you or me. And they only really care about their fourth quarter profit. I mean, that's essentially it, right? At the end of the day, they care about making money more and more and more, and that's why when this got bought out, it was only going to get worse, probably. So it's extremely frustrating. I mean, as you can see here, misinformation is running wild as well. You can have people that say, I guarantee you this stuff was in the playtest versions. I guarantee it was. You can watch Bengals videos; they were blurred out. Eventually, he means Bordeaux because Bordeaux had it blurred out in a video that came out post launch, showing subtitles, not intentionally blurring out that microtransactions were in the game. This was post launch on just a regular video, blurring the background so subtitles could be visible and legible. And these are my genuine thoughts about the game. I tweet out and say I want to play college because the game seems really good. There are some bug fixes that need to come, like all the 4 stars not having offers, and all of the small schools, or most of the mid-tier schools even, not getting the required number of recruits, and these programs essentially completely falling apart. It's not tuned correctly right now, but that's the least of our issues, right? I said, I don't think it's going to be hard for EA to revert the anti-consumer changes they made to Dynasty and Road to Glory. If it's only affecting a small percentage of the player base, which is essentially their claim, why does it matter then? Put it back in. Let us play the way we want to play. Don't funnel us toward microtransactions. I'm willing to compromise. I know they're going to be an ultimate team. That part's not going to get changed, right? But we don't want them in our sandbox modes where the whole appeal is making it our world, doing what we want, creating our college football landscape. And to EA, please, I'm begging you, there is an opportunity to do the right thing. If, as you say, it only affects an extremely small portion of the player base, why is it a big deal then? Give it back to us and it goes away. Do you not make enough from Ultimate Team? It's ridiculous to me, man. And the last tweet I'll pull up for me is that some moron complaining about, oh, dude, if you don't like it, just don't play the game. How is that going to create any type of change? If I don't speak to this, if others don't speak to it, it's not going to get changed. It's just going to get worse. So I'll read out my tweet, but I guess I'll paraphrase it slightly as well. It's frustrating to have to explain, this is my job. I like playing the game. I think the game can be very good. I love football. It's fun. I like playing armchair GM, armchair coach. I like developing these players. I like seeing these storylines. I don't want to just stop playing the game. If I stop playing small fish in a very of the actual game, it's not even comparable to the viewership that I'm bringing in. It's not even close. And viewers will continue whatever they want to watch. I will just fade away if I stop posting. This is my job. It's my only source of revenue. I've carved out a very interesting niche, one that I like a lot, one that I really appreciate you guys for. So I know it can seem easy from the sidelines to say, hey, just stop doing your job. Just go broke and fall on the sword. Be a martyr. That's not the way to incite change. The way to incite change is to make your voice heard, preach what changes you think need to be made, and try to do right by the community. So shout out to Bordeaux for really having the balls to kick this thing off. Hashtag CFB, play, don't pay. I think there is a happy middle ground that can exist. I don't think this needs to be scorched earth, burn bridges. We just want a slight change. Get microtransactions out of the offline modes. It's ruining what otherwise has a ton of potential. I think the problem with the EA higher-ups is they see all the revenue that Ultimate Team drives and is wondering, why are we not making any money from Dynasty and Road to Glory? Here's the problem, right? People are buying the game for Road to Glory and Dynasty. They are buying the game for that. Not for what microtransactions happen after, but see what happens if you really start like ignoring what has made the game great over the past couple of years. Ignore Dynasty, ignore Road to Glory, don't put any resources to it, and see what the sales end up looking like. Then maybe you'll get the picture.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm not buying 28 of that junk like that. I think it's so.
Welcome to the Harmony Channel. I'm Jason Whitlock. Thank you for joining me. We're going to continue the conversation about Nolan Wells, the 18-year-old Mississippi young man that died in a boating accident, as far as we know at this point. I want to pick up the conversation, and Shamika Michelle is going to join me. I want to pick up the conversation. There's an actress by the name of Jennifer Lewis, middle-aged, older black woman, been around for a long time. She's written some poem that she has dedicated to Nolan Wells. And I think this poem illustrates the conversation that Shamika and I are going to have today, that black people over social media, and you would have to think some over Facebook, which is part of social media, I guess. I was talking about X and Facebook or whatever, Instagram. They're rooting for it, hoping, seemingly praying that Nolan Wells' white friends killed him. They're rooting for that. This is the great what about Brett Favre moment they're looking for. Because we've seen these constant videos over social media of black people harming white people, and we want a what about Brett Favre moment, and so we want a what about Nolan Wells, and so that will be the answer. Anything you've seen involving black people beating up, harming white people, any Carmelo Anthony. I had someone email me. I believe, yeah, it was over Facebook. See if I can. I want to read this verbatim because it blew my mind, like the willful ignorance and or just the lack of logic driving your perspective, that you would email me this and that you would think you had made some decent point. Not going to say the person's name. He didn't send it. You know, this is one of these email messages that didn't come with curse words or name calling, and so I'm always appreciative of that. I can't believe the way people write on Facebook and they're comfortable putting themselves out there like that. But anyway, Jason, help me understand this. There's very little punctuation here, or there's no punctuation. It's just a string of words. But anyway, Jason, help me understand this. And I believe he wants semicolon or something here. Why are the white kids not being treated like Anthony? I think he's talking about Carmelo Anthony. And he says, from what I can see with Anthony, it was a rush to judgment. With these three white kids, it's let's the facts first. That did not seem strange to you that all but one made it back. Now, again, I don't want to get caught up in the punctual, but I mean the utter lack of communication skills is mind-boggling to me. to write all that's got to be probably 4 or 5 different sentences, and there's not one piece of punctuation in that whole deal. But regardless, he has somehow analogized what happened to Nolan Wells on a boating accident that we have no idea what caused this death. He somehow analogized it to Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. And so I wrote the guy back, and I was being respectful, I think. Carmelo Anthony stabbed Austin Metcalf in front of 15 to 30 witnesses. Carmelo Anthony told police he stabbed Austin Metcalf within minutes of stabbing Metcalf. And so what happened to Nolan Wells is a mystery at and I say your question doesn't seem real or sincere. And then I put question marks just to indicate that I'm baffled. Like, how can these two things be analogous? Carmelo Anthony stabbed someone in front of a bunch of witnesses. He's on camera running away from what he did. He's on camera telling the police that he did it. There was a rush to judgment because there was a rush to confession, because there were eyewitnesses that saw it. It wasn't a whodunit. We didn't need an autopsy before. How did Austin Metcalf die? Well, he died with paramedics trying to revive him to life after he'd been stabbed in the heart. It's on tape. Austin Metcalf died. Well, he died with paramedics trying to revive him to life after he'd been stabbed in the heart. It's on tape. So when it's on tape and there are 15 to 30 witnesses, and the 15 to 30 witnesses, many of them were the same color, if that's important to you, as Carmelo Anthony, it's like it's indisputable that Carmelo Anthony killed Austin Metcalf. Now, I guess you can defense, but a jury's already debated that, and most people with common sense didn't need a jury to understand, like, hey man, a guy can't push you and then you get to stab him in the heart. But the thinking is so primitive and illogical, so detached from reality, that all I can do is pray for this person. He's incapable of figuring out no Wells dying, no autopsy, and in a way that you hate to say it, but it's commonplace. Kids getting drunk while out partying on boats at a party cove. It happens virtually every summer weekend. Someone's going to be too drunk and drown. Someone's going to fall off a boat, get hit by another boat, get hit by a propeller. Something is going to, and it's going to be a tragic accident. Someone just literally emailed me. See if I can find this email. But they literally just emailed me today, telling about a story that I believe maybe it was in the St. Louis area. Let me see if I can find this email, because I literally just did it earlier today. Yep, no, this is in Wisconsin. Just a few weeks ago, kids were out on I can't think of his name, Awakoochee Lake in Wisconsin. They were drinking and illegally wake surfing at 10 p.m. One of the kids off the boat got hit by the propeller. He was killed and found days later, 90 feet down in the lake, 2 days after he graduated high school. All white kids, no Ben Crump, no national news coverage. Then he thanked me for the show. What more than likely happened to Nolan Wells happens virtually every weekend. So all the people running around saying, man, you got to tell your kids to avoid white friends and being in any place where they're the only black person. This is lunacy. This is an illogic. And here's Jennifer Lewis, an actor, going on with the charade, written a poem that paints her as insane, but maybe she's just a reflection of the insanity that is pervasive throughout America. Play the clip.
Stop killing our children, son of a bitch. We don't care if you think you're rich. We love our children.
I feel that way.
And the color of their skin, and we're getting tired of being called as the next of kin. You twisted monsters are going too far. Don't you know your own children will suffer if you keep magnifying this war? The people are becoming more and more empowered. You can hide your face, but not your soul, coward. Once again, we love our children, the color of their skin.
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing, and I apologize for saying it. When she burns in hell,
Bro.
well, let me shut up.
Nigga,
Shamika,
what?
we'll start with Jennifer Lewis here,
God, what?
and I think I think Jennifer. It's probably wrong on our screen. I think she spelled it with one N. That's my mistake. But anyway, you know who I'm talking about. The audience knows who I'm talking about. Shamika, your thoughts here.
Is she talking to other black kids? Because that's who's killing black children. Other black children. I don't know why this is so hard for people to understand or grasp. I don't even understand the the desperate need that black people have to be so oppressed. That they have to just, the need they have to feel like white people wake up every morning thinking, how can I get a black person today? How can I keep a black person down today? There's a strange desire and need that so many black people have for their lives to just revolve around white people. I don't understand this. It's very silly for this woman to get up here and do this speech, this poem, whatever. There were 9 people shot here over the weekend during the 4th of July celebrations. They were shot by black people. So I don't understand the idea that we're going to pretend like that's not happening and then magnify something that doesn't happen often and probably in this situation didn't happen at all. White people killing black people is just not an everyday occurrence. And what is an everyday occurrence, people are ignoring.
I think, Shamika, if I had to explain, there's just, if we can pretend, if we can lie to ourselves that, hey, we're not the problem, we get to act like, hey, black culture is normal, and it's no different than anybody else's, and it doesn't need to be corrected or fixed. See, don't you see? Don't you listen to the hardcore rock music that white people listen to? They've got the same problem. And then they dismiss.
First play of overtime.
Perhaps it's because
Sorry.
we don't understand data, we don't understand math, maybe we've been so poorly educated, we don't know that 2 plus 2 equals 4, we don't understand per capita, we don't understand that, like, no, you're far more on a percentage basis, based on the data, you're far more to be hurt in an all black crowd than an all white crowd. Because white people don't turn to deadly violence as quickly as black people. That's just a fact. And then you have to ask yourself, and maybe people don't want to do the work. Maybe they're incapable of doing the work. Maybe their brains just don't function at this level. You have to ask yourself, why is that? And then people like me will say, well, you've adopted the wrong culture and you've adopted the wrong mentality and the wrong set of values. And at some point, then where I'm at, I'm just like, hey man, are there the groups or whatever that don't pass it? And again, as I continue, I'm almost finished with the book Out of Africa or Out of America. I'm sorry, but it's about Africa, and I look at the tribes and the cultures over there, and how primitive,
Bruh.
savage they are, and how illogical they are, and how not advanced they are, or how far behind Western civilization in terms of technological advancement, uh, reading, a form of writing that's easy to understand. They're just behind. And we got a group of people over here in America think, hey, let's connect with that culture and that ancestry that's way behind the rest of Western civilization, involved in religions that are crazy and satanic. Let's connect with that because skin color is our primary determinant. It's just a lie that we are committed to telling our people so that we never have to address a problem. And so that's why people are literally begging, praying that one of these white kids killed this black boy. And they can't wait. They're sitting around dreaming of the tweets that they're going to send to me and you and anybody else that was like, hey, man, let's just wait on the facts. Let's wait on the autopsy. Doesn't seem likely that these kids killed it. But I'm saying, even one of these kids killed him or got in a fight with him or wrestled with him, and he doesn't change one single word that I'm saying here. Because regardless of race played no role in whatever happened to him. Because white kids will fight amongst themselves, black kids will fight amongst themselves, and accidents happen, particularly if you mix alcohol in. It's this is I mean, me and you talk about this stuff all the time, and we're going to continue to. But holy cow, we just keep coming back to the same conclusion of like, this feels hopeless.
It does feel hopeless. And actually, Jason, you're right. It won't change what we're saying. There was a young woman who died, I believe, in the DR maybe 2 or 3 years ago. She had gone on vacation with her friends, and there was video of them being in a fight. Nobody, Ben Crump didn't take that case
Oh,
on.
GG's,
He
bruv.
didn't try to get to the bottom of that. There is this obsession with ambulance chasing when the races are mixed. And that's just what it is because we don't care about the actual facts. I saw someone call the per capita argument a weak argument. And it's not a weak argument when we're killing each other at greater rates. It's an actual fact that needs to be addressed. And you're right, there's something going on with black people that they feel 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4, which may be why they are trying to push this whole black English argument as if black kids can't learn at the same rate of white kids. It's just so silly, and I don't know where we got to the point where our expectations are so low, where we got to the point where we will just jump to such a negative conclusion first. I didn't see anyone saying maybe he couldn't swim, or as you said, maybe he was hit by a propeller. Anything could have happened, but the first thing people jumped to was sharing pictures. He was the only